This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor Jon Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
There are 3 questions. I feel like the count. One, a 2, a 3. 3
Why
questions.
Was it Count Chocula?
Count Dracula on Sesame Street.
The count.
Let's talk about. I did start this conversation off with a point.
You did.
There was an article written about 3 conversations to have with your spouse before turning 65. So 3 retirement.
When to redecorate the living room. Screening in the back porch.
See, this is why you're happily married.
Of course.
This is what's up. This is why you and Tennille have made it to almost 20 years of happy
Almost
marriage.
20 years.
20-year
A lot
anniversary
can
is coming
happen
up.
in a couple of months. You got to be careful.
Happy wife, happy life. You know what to do. Because when it comes to all different kinds of conversations we need to have about retirement with our spouse, with our significant other, sometimes those can get emotional. Sometimes you need a mediator. You guys are good in that space as well.
Absolutely. I'd say a good 70% of my day-to-day is marriage counseling.
That's right.
Not a joke.
No, I believe you.
Proper marriage counseling is, at its very essence,
It's financial
great
planning.
retirement planning. Yeah. There's no question. That is, you can look that up.
No, it makes sense.
That's Wikipedia. TikTok has that.
There it
on
is, TikTok. Of course, getting to retire as a couple, it has lots of perks. You've got shared goals. You have to hopefully double the savings power. You've got your person to do all the things with that you want to do in retirement. But again, as a happily married man, you understand the fact that 2 people means double the opinions. So
Absolutely.
There was an article on USA Today talking about 3 retirement conversations married couples should have before turning 65. And I wanted you to go through with what these are. And is there anything that you would add into this mix?
One of the very first things we ask actually happens to be one of the very first things that they talk about, these 3 things that you should ask your significant other as you're going into retirement. Number 1, what do you want your day-to-day to actually look like, right? This is a big one, right? So for years, I've been telling people it's not what you retire from. It's what you retire to, right? This is a choice. No one really has to retire. I mean, some people, they get their job cuts or they get downsized, but the majority of us, we kind of get a little bit of a choice on, do we want to retire? And when we do that, the question is, but what do you want to do with your day? You'd be surprised how many times ladies, for whatever reason, you guys got it figured out, like 10-1 better than guys.
Do you know how much time I'm going to have to do all the things that I don't get to do? I will have 0 problems with this, John, when I get to retire. Literally. 0.
And over the last 20 years, 25 years of me doing this, what I've realized is that it's because women's social networks are a little bit more better formed. Okay. It's almost like a spider web. It kind of touches a little bit of everything. People from their church, people from their group, people in the neighborhood, all the moms that the kids played soccer with. Yeah. For whatever reason, you just seem to be much better connected. Guys, a little different. Guys, often their job is kind of their sense of being. It's who they are. Okay. I'm an engineer, and so this is what I do. And all of a sudden, if they hang that up, they're like, hold on, Ted's an engineer. I'm an engineer. Hold on, I'm Ted. They forget, they talk about themselves in third person. They lose themselves completely because they don't know what it is that they're supposed to do. And it's hard for them sometimes to figure out, what do they want their day-to-day to look like? I was like, man, if I'm not hanging out looking at spreadsheets, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So the point is that you have to ask each other, and you have to look at each other, and you have to be honest about it too. Don't just say something and give it lip service because the other person expects to hear something. It is really good, and I have found it is very healthy if you disagree about many things. But you have to let each other both talk. Okay. Because often what I find out is he goes, well, she wants me to retire so I can blank, 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 do the honey-do list, move to closer to the grandkids, help around the house, whatever it is. And often the guy, that's not what he wants to do on his top 50 list. There's all kinds of other things. Catch up on old Andy Griffith, is never also number 1. But the idea is like there's just different things. We have to know what we want to do because that is how we're going to define our happiness. Do we get to do what we want, when we want, with who we want, whenever we want? By the way, guys, that is not the definition of retirement. That's the definition of happiness. And it doesn't require any amount of money. We have to figure those things out. So what you want to do with your time is important because you may say, hey, I want to spend time with the grandkids, but you can only handle that a couple of days a week. Literally, just physically, we may not be able to chase around a bunch of 3 and 4-year-olds all the time, but what you want to do and where you want to do it, right? There's many of us that I know, and I've talked to you all the time. It's like, hey, we love our house, but it's got a basement. It's got an upstairs. All the bedrooms are upstairs. The bathrooms really are not adequate, especially if we over time have to have a walker or if we need a cane or, if we have a wheelchair. It doesn't work. So the question is, when we're younger and healthier, when we're earlier in our retirement, should we make some of those changes? Because often they come with different financial concerns too, right? So the biggest thing we have to ask ourselves is, what do you want retirement to look like? And be honest, because just getting that out on the table allows you to make a really much better discovery and decisions, right? Mm-hmm. The second thing that we always have to understand, and this is where guys maybe do a little bit of a better job, and this is to understand the numbers. It doesn't mean that women don't understand the numbers, but it means something different. When a woman says, hey, honey, I want to do this, it's really not about the numbers. It's about this emotionally feels right. I would be happy doing this. And what they're really often talking about is happiness. A guy, for whatever reason, they don't hear the happiness. They hear dollar signs. Like, and this is a personal thing. I can think about it. My wife says, hey, honey, you remember when we went to Spain? I love that. I think that we should spend more time in Spain. Those last words that she said, it sounds like this to me.
I think we should spend more money in Spain.
And that's what I hear. All I hear is money, 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 money. Better make more money. You need more money. And then I'm thinking, well, I can't retire. I got to make more money because she wants to spend all this time in Spain.
Right.
The point is that neither one of the people are saying what the other one's hearing.
Right.
But you have to actually get really defined, what do things cost, and be honest with yourselves. And this is a statement that I say to my children all the time. We can do nearly anything in this world we want, but we can't do everything in this world we want. And for many of us, it means that, hey, there's almost everything on your list you can tackle over the course of retirement, but you can't all do it in the first 1, 2, or 3 years. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's things that need to wait a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And by doing that, I want people to consider front loading their retirement. Now, what does that mean? It means that I want a little bit more stress purposefully on the beginning of retirement. I want you to spend a little bit more for the first 3 to 5 years. Why? Because that's when we're the youngest, we're the healthiest, and we're probably the most able to do all those things in that bucket list we want to do, right? But we have to have a shared vision of that, or unfortunately, someone's always going to be aggravated or mad or in a bad mood because either they're always hearing money all the time or they're feeling like they're not getting to do the things that they love to do. Mm-hmm. When they say travel, they don't mean get in the car and drive down to Branson, Missouri. They meant, hey, I want to actually see parts of the United States I've never seen, or I want to go somewhere exotic, or I would love to see Puerto Rico, or I've never been on an Alaskan cruise. Those are different ideas and they have different costs. So getting on the same page with money just really means, when do you want to space those things out? And you can prioritize then, what are the better expenditures when you're the youngest and the healthiest, right? Those are important. Okay. The last piece of the puzzle that I want to hit on today is really about healthcare, right? Okay. This is something that no one wants to talk about, but unfortunately, whenever you read the articles, they're really concerning because the average American is going to have to expend somewhere between $150,000 to $165,000 of out-of-pocket expenditures, right? This is after Medicare is paid. Out of pocket, $165,000 over the course of their retirement. So if you have 2 people in your couple, that's times 2. So we're talking over $330,000 of out-of-pocket healthcare. That's after the copays, after everyone else has paid their
and doesn't include long-term care, right?
And it does not include long-term care. Yeah. So we have to have a conscious discussion, because if that means that we need to do something about our health now, should we start walking a little bit more? Should we maybe get a little bit better sleep? Should we, instead of taking more prescribed medications, should we eat a little bit more differently, or look at those GLP-1s to help reduce some weight to feel better so we don't have the same ankle pain, the same knee pain, the same hip pain? Should we consider those things? Would it be a worthwhile investment, right? To invest in our health in the beginning may really cause us to lower those costs, but we have to understand when those things may happen, how much it may cost, and plan accordingly. Because unfortunately, even the best laid plans completely go up in smoke if we have major health concerns that suck it all out. I know this firsthand because my dad had a stroke, a pretty major stroke, where it completely incapacitated him. He did not pass away immediately. He lasted for 9 more years, thank goodness. But it dwindled down nearly $500,000 of my parents' savings because of what happened, right? Yeah. And so that kind of derailed their entire retirement My mom would say, hey, I would spend that money the exact same way. It's just unfortunate that they had to do it that way.
Yep.
With a little bit different planning and some different ideas, they would have been able to probably do some more things. So those are the big three, right? So we really need to conquer, what do we want our day-to-day to look like? Understand the money, but in context of when it should be spent. And lastly, those healthcare costs. That does not mean get long-term care insurance. I often think that that's a ripoff. It means you need to plan correctly, because not only sometimes do we have to spend the money, there's taxation on that money when we pull it out. This is where a good, skilled advisor, especially a fiduciary advisor, can help guide through those things. Those three big ones, if you plan for those, you're going to have a much better retirement planning process.
At J. Hagan Capital, we are here to help you navigate the conversations with your spouse, with other members of your family that you feel might need to be involved when it comes to your overall retirement and financial plan. Begin the conversation with us at retirementsolutionsshow.com. We also have links posted in the show notes. As Jon was saying earlier in this conversation, 70% of what he does is marriage counseling. It does at least feel that way because there is a lot of conversations that need to be had and a lot of advice that goes into it from the perspective of Jon and his team at J. Hagan Capital, because they're helping folks retire every day. Goal is you retire once, but they're essentially retiring every single day over and over and over again. So they have a lot of experience with these various conversations. They are here to help you navigate this space as well. So let's begin that conversation with you and your spouse. Visit us at retirementsolutionsshow.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with Jon Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with Jon and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting retirementsolutionradio.com. Be sure to listen to Jon's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital, LLC, NPN number 1882794.